In this lesson, we'll draw a lot from a typical legal description. We'll be using the same legal description that's listed at the beginning of Chapter 3 in your user guide. Deeds are always entered using the track command. To start the track command, click the track button on the toolbar. The first thing that Deed-Chek does is prompt us to enter a name and a description for the tract. These entries are totally optional and can be skipped by pressing the Enter key. For this example, we'll go ahead and enter Lot 1 for the tract name and Sample Drawing for the description. Next, the program prompts us to enter the starting point for the tract. This will be the point of beginning as listed in the deed. In most cases, you can simply click an arbitrary point on the drawing for the starting point. Now we're ready to enter the first leg of the tract. In our sample description, the first leg has a bearing of north, 12 degrees, 22 minutes, 41 seconds east, and a distance of 132.87 feet. So at the direction prompt, I'll type in N 12.2241 E and press Enter. Notice that the bearing is typed in almost exactly like it appears in the deed. The only difference is that we enter a decimal point instead of the degree symbol, and we don't bother entering the notation for minutes or seconds. This allows us to enter bearings faster and with less distractions. Now for the distance, I'll enter 132.87. As you can see, the first leg is now drawn on the screen. The second leg in our deed is a curve. To enter a curve, we need to bring up the Speed menu to select the Curve command. To bring up the Speed menu, simply click anywhere on the drawing with the right mouse button. The Speed menu displays a list of commands that you can use while in the Tract command. Note that since we are using the Tract command, we can't use any of the commands on the regular Draw toolbar. We can only use the commands listed on the Speed menu. Notice also that there are two Curve commands on the Speed menu. The first one is for manually entering a curve by typing in the curve information. The second Curve command allows you to enter a curve by selecting points on the drawing with the mouse. Since we need to manually enter the curve information from our sample deed, we'll use the first Curve command. To draw the curve, we need to enter the curve information from the deed into the Curve dialog box. This dialog box may seem a little overwhelming at first. However, it's really quite easy to use. In almost all cases, only 3 pieces of information are needed to draw the curve. For our example here, we know the curve direction, the radius, and the central angle. So to draw the curve, I'll leave the curve direction set to right. Then I'll type in the curve radius, which is 60 feet, and I'll enter the central angle, which is 80 degrees, 0 minutes, and 0 seconds. Note that I really don't need to type in all the trailing zeros here. In this case, I can simply enter the angle as 80. That's all we need to enter the curve. I can now go ahead and draw the curve by clicking OK. Before I do that though, take a look at the curve diagram at the top of the dialog box. As you move through the fields, the dialog box changes to show you how that piece of information is used to define the curve. We also haven't discussed the orientation section of the dialog box. The orientation section comes into play whenever you need to enter a non-tangent curve. Non-tangent curves are covered in another part of these tutorials. Now I'll go ahead and press the OK button to draw our curve. As you can see, the curve was drawn, but it extends off the screen where we can't see it. To fix this, I'll use the Zoom All command to resize the drawing. First, I'll select the View menu, and then I'll select Zoom All. You can use the zoom commands to reposition your drawing at almost any time, including when you're in the middle of using a command. The only exception to this is the zoom window command. The zoom window command can only be used when no other commands are active. Now we're ready to enter leg 3. At the direction prompt, I'll enter a bearing of south, 87 degrees, 37 minutes, and 20 seconds east. And for the distance, I'll enter 95.13 feet. For the next leg, I'll enter a bearing of south, 2 degrees, 33 minutes, and 7 seconds east. The direction is 189.08 feet. And finally, for the last leg of the lot, I'll enter a bearing of north, 85 degrees, 16 minutes, and 14 seconds west. The distance will be 193.7 feet. Now, to finish the tract and calculate the area, I'll simply hit enter without typing in a bearing. To summarize the points that we've learned in this lesson, A, we always use the tract command to enter a deed. B, we always enter bearings just like they appear in the deed. And C, we use the speed menu to select commands while using the tract command.